and also Head of Cluster of Artificial Intelligence for ASHELF 2025. Our moderator, Professor Dr. Bibi Rahmatullah from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia. Our panelists, Professor Dr. Muhammad Fauzan bin Nordin, Deputy Director, Student Development and Community Engagement, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Annabelle Chen Singh, Director, Center for Research and Development in Learning, credit at NTU, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Mr. Warren Liao, Chief Executive Officer, Super N8N, Chief Business Officer, Delete.io, and the founder of Consortium AI Negara, KAIN. Dr. Nugraha Priya Utama, Head of AI Center, Institute Technology Bandung, Indonesia. Distinguished guests, respected professors, and all participants. On behalf of the organizing committee, I am truly honored to welcome you to the ASHELF 2025 AI Forum, and specifically to this parallel session held under the theme Leading Higher Education in the AI Era, Innovation, Ethics, and Human-Centered Futures. Today's forum serves as a vital platform where academia and industry converge to explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping higher education, not only through technological innovation, but also through the ethical and human-centered dimensions that define our shared academic missions. So ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the moderator for today's forum session. Leading our discussion today is Professor Dr. Bibi Rahmatullah, a distinguished professor at the Faculty of Computing and Meta Technology, University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. She is a passionate academic with deep expertise in AI-driven education and innovation. Her doctoral research at the University of Oxford focused on applying AI in biomedical imaging, contributing to the prestigious Intergrowth 21st Global Consortium on Maternal and Fetal Health, a project led by Oxford and supported by the Melinda Gates Foundation. Professor Bibi has also led numerous international collaborations and high-impact projects, including Erasmus+, and has published extensively in her field. She continues to champion human-centered and ethical AI integration in higher education, paving the way for a more inclusive and responsible digital future. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Dr. Bibi Rahmatullah to the stage to deliver her opening remarks and to lead our panel for the forum session team Leading Higher Education in the AI Era, Innovation, Ethics, and Human-Centered Future. So Prof, the floor is yours.
Right, thank you very much, Ms. Shima. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? Everyone is good. Okay, Prof. Nasri already told me that make it less formal. So I'm not sure how much less formal I can do. Thank you very much for this opportunity to hear about the AI, as you have heard from the keynote today as well. Even our Deputy Prime Minister was stressing about all the AI and ethics, and humans-centered technology. So today's the forum titled Artificial Intelligence Leading Higher Education in the AI Era. You can see innovation, ethics, and human-centered futures. AI is rapidly transforming how we teach, we learn, and how we lead within our universities. So for Asian higher education, this transformation presents both opportunities and also responsibility, so that we innovate and also preserve our values. ASEAN are full with our culture and values in the process. So this afternoon, We are joined by 4 distinguished panelists who bring diverse expertise from neuroscience and education research and applied AI innovation, value-based leadership, and creative technology entrepreneurship. So it's a diverse, expertise, and we are very honored actually to have our panelists, joining us today. Let me brief you about our forum. It will be divided into 3 rounds of discussion. In the first round, it will be a short presentation by each panelist. And then in round 2, we'll have a discussion. I will invite all the panelists to discuss about innovation and ethics. And in round 3, we'll have some reflection on human-centered futures. And we will conclude, okay, if time is allow us for having interactive Q&A session. So save your questions if you have it, students, all the audience. And we'll have a brief round of closing reflections from each of the panelists. Right, without further delay, we'll now begin our first round, which is a series of presentation by our distinguished panelists. So each panelist will have 10 minutes, right? They say don't let the lecturer hold the mic, they're gonna go way beyond that. So I'm not sure with Mr. Warren, and you'll make it shorter. All right. I know, I'm a lecturer, so don't let me hold this. Right, to start us off, we have Prof. Dr. Annabelle Chen, an expert in neuroscience and education from Nanyang Technological University. She will speak on science of learning and AI, personalized learning across the lifespan. Hold on, Prof. I want to read your biography. State to me, right? So Prof. Annabelle Chen is the President's Chair Professor of Psychology at Nanyang Technological University, NTU, with joint appointments at LKC Medicine and the National Institute of Education, NIE. She directs the Center for Research and Development in Learning, CREDL at NTU, and co-directs the Center for Lifelong Learning and Individualized Cognition. Right, an NTU Cambridge collaboration funded by Singapore's National Research Foundation. A clinical neuropsychologist trained at Purdue, West Virginia University School of Medicine, the Medical College of Wisconsin, and Stanford University. Prof. Chen leads the Science of Learning Research Trust integrating education, psychology, neuroscience, and AI. How wonderful is that? Her clinical brain lab uses fMRI, functional MRI, EEG, and non-invasive brain stimulation to study cerebellar and cortical mechanism underlying cognition, aging, and learning. One of her current research development applies AI-driven multimodal analytics to personalize learning and enhance cognitive resilience and wellness, advancing evidence-based frameworks that support lifelong learning and healthy aging across diverse populations. Prof, I'm really excited to hear your presentation today. The floor is yours.
Introduction. It's a lovely event to be here to share ideas, especially in this wonderful festival. So as Prof. Bibi mentioned, today I will share from a neuropsychology and cognitive neuroscience perspective, integrating our science of learning insights to impact education through AI research. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we're talking about intelligence. So it's really important to first understand human intelligence as well. So our core focus will be on leveraging science of learning and AI to address critical challenges such as scalability and individual differences in learning by integrating diverse multimodal data for personalized education experiences. And I hope to highlight the potential insights on how AI can drive education to enhance our learning. So let's start with, what is the science of learning? So in the last 30 years, with the advent of our non-invasive functional neuroimaging research that has provided an exponential increase of knowledge about our brain, as shown here, you have the rapid increase in research publications using fMRI in the last 2 decades. However, it was only in the last 10 years or so that this research has been more widely applied to education, as you can see it here, as how we can systematically optimize learning. So this has contributed to the development of this interdisciplinary area called the science of learning, integrating knowledge from psychology, neuroscience, and education, and later harnessing the related fields in computer science and engineering for the technology. However, there remains some ambiguity about its scope and definition in the literature. So to address this, we conducted what we call a systematic review or scoping review a couple of years ago to propose a working definition. And that is, the science of learning is the scientific study of the underlying basis of learning with the goal of describing, understanding, or improving learning across developmental stages and diverse contexts. So this definition serves as a foundation for further discussion and refinement. So, however, when we look into our lifespan of learning, we find that learning across this age span, that adults actually learn quite differently from school-age children. So that's where we started to look into science of adult learning. And oftentimes we found that adults are very self-directed. We learn from experience, and we focus on problem solving that is relevant to our lives. So this demands a developmental and aging perspective as cognitive processes and motivation evolve throughout our lifespan. So our recent comprehensive systematic review on the science of adult learning, supported by the Ministry of Education in Singapore, indicates that while healthy aging can show general declines in cognitive areas, such as processing speed, but not as fast and agile as the young, and also even sometimes our explicit memory. So this is what we call fluid intelligence or abilities. Other areas, such as vocabulary or even world knowledge, what we call as crystallized abilities, tend to remain stable or even improve. So that's good news. So as we age, we do get wiser. We also found that factors like higher education, socioeconomic status, baseline cognitive function can also positively influence these trajectories. And more importantly, our findings highlight effective interventions include combined cognitive and physical training, and technology and multimodal approaches can amplify these effects. It is also critical to note that factors like age, baseline cognition, brain function, and even the dose of the duration of the training all play a critical role on how effective these interventions can be. Nevertheless, more research is needed, especially looking at middle adulthood. There's almost all of us sitting here, right? We're so busy, it's very difficult for us to participate in research, but more of this, we need to know more knowledge of how we learn. And also these promising interventions that have been published needs to be validated within our real world context. So, now onto the challenge. While the science of learning provides valuable insights into how we learn, applying these insights at a large scale in a diverse education setting or learning environments is very difficult because the core challenge is scalability. Education isn't one size fits all. Real-world learning involves significant individual differences, from a child in the kindergarten to a senior in the community trying to learn a new skill. So each learner has unique prior knowledge, learning preferences, cognitive strengths, and motivation. So personalizing our learning for millions of individuals across the entire lifespan becomes quite a complex and resource-intensive system without new approaches. So this leads us to a critical question. Can artificial intelligence provide us a breakthrough for what we call precision education? Well, this seems to be quite promising, as the power of AI lies in its ability to process and synthesize a vast amount of multimodal information. So imagine that we can collect data not just from our traditional tests, but from behavioral patterns, cognitive strategies, and even neuroimaging data like fMRI or EEG, giving us insights into brain activity during learning. We can also integrate physiological measures such as heart rate, social factors, demographics like socioeconomic status, and learning environment itself. So by analyzing these diverse data streams, AI can help us not only understand what is happening during learning, but also identify what truly works for learning and under what specific conditions. So this means AI can accelerate our research by analyzing the complex data sets, generating new hypotheses, and providing new real-time insights into pedagogical effectiveness. So that's helping us to advance our educational research while studies are still underway. So while AI's capabilities are advancing rapidly, it's important to note that achieving full integration and predictive power across all these complex factors is still a very active area of research itself. So more dedicated studies are indeed needed to validate these applications and refine AI models for robust education use. Okay, so we're coming to the last slide. The strategic integration of science of learning and AI is the key from our perspective. It's about aligning the research insights from neuropsychology and cognitive neuroscience, especially regarding adult learning and development, with the innovative capabilities of AI. This synergy opens up new pathways. So we can move beyond simply identifying what's effective to proactively redesigning learning experiences that are practically tailored for each individual within this AI-supported system. So in terms of aligning pedagogy, we can consider systems that continuously learn from all its multimodal data, how a learner's brain responds, their behavioral patterns, their context, and then refine these strategies to provide targeted and impactful interventions, whether for a child struggling with math or an adult mastering a new professional skill. So this iterative process, where AI accelerates research, is the foundational capabilities are emerging, and also continued research is essential to fully validate and optimize these approaches. So ultimately, if we could effectively integrate science of learning and AI, we envision a future of education and learning that is more responsive, effective, and equitable, supporting lifelong learning and development for everyone. Now, lastly, there's still a caveat of alignment with human values. So when we talk about personalization of anything, since we would need to give up our personal information for individualization, there's a lot of consideration for data confidentiality and anonymization for safety. So I do look forward to discussing more on scalability and its impact of AI in helping to personalize our learning experience with the science of learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Annabelle, for that fascinating presentation. As you all know, the data, there were plenty of data coming from so many modalities that require AI to do the processing, to bring that insights, so that we can have that kind of personalized education. We have been saying, talking about personalized education, but I think nowadays, we are trying to realize that, using this AI and also technical for you, some of it, but welcome to the world of research and academics. So that's a strong scientific foundation to build on as we move forward. Okay, next we'll hear from Dr. Nugraha. He said just call Dr. Utama, but I like the name Nugraha because it seems it's an anugerah. It's actually an anugerah. For we Malaysian, we call it anugerah. Dr. Nugraha, he said anugerah. Nugraha Priya Utama, a leading AI researcher and innovator, flew all the way from Bandung, from Indonesia. So he will speak on driving AI innovation in higher education. And let me read the biography, Doctor, allow me for that. Right. He just give a very short, humble introduction here. Dr. Utama quietly advances research in computer vision, deep learning and brain decoding, always striving to apply AI for meaningful real-world impact. Grounded by his experiences at Tokyo Institute of Technology and in industries such as Yahoo, he values teamwork and cross-disciplinary learning, seeking not only to grow Indonesia's AI ecosystem, but also to nurture future innovators in the field. So he said he just wanted to share his experience, and we really value that. So Dr. Utama, please go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you Prof. Bahati for introductions. So this is very good afternoon everyone. So it's my privilege actually to show how AI driving the innovations in higher education. It's not really. Okay. Can I? Okay, so sorry for the interruption. So it is my privilege to show you about the AI, how AI driving the innovation in higher education, especially driving from the IDB point of view. So I just want to share about what IDB, especially Center of AI, have been done throughout these years for implementing AI in IDB. So it is not so technical, hopefully it is not so, but still let's see. Okay, so in IDB, when we are trying to implement the AI for higher educations, we are focusing on these three technology basically. So the first is the speech-to-text transcription. It's just like we build a system in our LMS that the system can automatically transcribe the lecture. So those who have problems, the students who have problems with hearing impairment, kind of like that, they just can read the lecture, and also those who miss the class, they can do a refer to the class and how can I say, keep learning on the things that have been taught before. So the second focus is about the text-to-speech, so the other way around, text-to-speech. So this is, we deployed this kind of system in 2019, especially for the national exam, when we led the students with the low vision problem. How can I say, what is low vision? Low vision is someone who cannot read the text they need a very high contrast to see what is written in the equation. So we translate the text to speech to empowering them to, how can I say, to independently contribute or independently joins the exam. And then the third one, we focus on the human-computer interactions. So the voice recognitions and the natural language processing optimize the course management. So it's more kind of like how can I say, we focus on these three kind of technology to somehow affecting the AI implementation in ITB. So what did we do? So basically we built the EduNext, we call it EduNext, it's the LMS. Previously we do not have it, but then we implement the mobile LMS. So is to develop the ITB support before the new government, basically our higher education ministry provide the new curriculum, we call it like Indonesia Merdeka Belajar. So everyone can do what they like to do, and then they keep searching they keep learning with their own pace. So what is the effect? Because we start in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. The effect is that during the COVID era, so everybody can learn from home. So, and as we know, as everyone knows, that Indonesia is very widespread, and that the technology, especially the internet, is a very there is a huge gap between the city and the rural area. So that's why hopefully by this system, the students who came from the rural area can somehow still having access to our LMS. Okay, so as we know also, keeping honesty in the digital era is very difficult. Yeah, ChatGPT can like that. So that's why in implementing this kind of system, we implement also the plagiarism detection engine in our LMS. So what is the purpose of this one? Is to somehow helping the students to, before the submission, for example, if they have the assignment, they can like check about the plagiarism system, our plagiarism. So before submitting, they know about the situations of their assignment. So it is past the plagiarism detection or not. And then we also implement the Hawks classification system, so to let the students know which one is credible and which one is unreliable information. And then also for the biometric authentications, it's a face verifications. We implement it for the how can I say, electronic exam. What we call it here? So electronic exam, right? So we how can I say? We make sure that the student who took the exam is the real one, not the imposter, like that. So how did we do about this one? So to keep the AI transition is not so easy. So we keep doing the professional training workshops for the faculty as well as for the students, and also we have the student digital competency. So our students can like keep up with the technology. So we provide kind of like a hackathon, and then we focus on the ethics, the responsible AI. So the students in the curriculum start understand that AI having a bias. So we have to be careful, and we have that AI also have a risk to be implemented. So they have to well aware about that kind of things. And also we collaborate with other university to how can I say, to work together to share the best practices, what is the best implemented in their education level. So the impact, so after this effort, what is the impact? So in here we have done like a 75 plus workshop completed, and then this is for how the faculty can use the AI tools to help, to enhance, to empowering their skill, kind of like that. And then the platform is still not 100% adopted actively, I mean, all the now in ITB, all the lecturer is already inside our LMS, but only around like a 90% of the lecturer and also the student who actively use it. So because we can like communicate and then we can discuss in that LMS, it's only 90%, and remaining 10% is the a passive user. And then the good news also is that the 30% of the accessibility improve. So it means our students with challenging, kind of like with hearing problem, with the low vision, kind of like that, they, how can I say, they improve access to the learning materials. And then, so we are not stopping into the border of ITB also. Hopefully we can scaling AI innovations across ASEAN. So in here, ITB shares open source AI tools. So hopefully, and we implementation the playbooks with partner institution across Indonesia and Southeast Asia, kind of like I forgot, the one from Thailand and then the Sri Lanka. And then hopefully the next step we do also the joint research initiative. So to develop the localized AI solution, as we know that our ASEAN is the power is about our diversity. So hopefully we can collaborate to localize the AI, and then also we collaboratively establish the frameworks, ethical AI guideline, and data governance standard for regional higher education, hopefully. Okay, so what is the challenges when we are implementing this one? So in Indonesia, we have in the left side, we have the infrastructure gap, and then the digital literacy variance, and then resources constraint, and also the language barriers, because Indonesia, not all what can I say? Not all the people can speak or understand English especially. So we still use kind of like a local dialect, local language, traditional language. So that's why our strategy to overcome that problem is to mobile first design. So we develop the LMS and then the tiered training. So to catch up with the technology, sometimes the senior and then the junior, they have a very gap usage of the AI. So we have the tiered training. So basically, we try to coach the early career to use the AI ethically. And then also we have the self-service model, and also we do the localization effort. We build our traditional, for the preservations of our local dialect, we build the database for our traditional one. So with this effort, now is around 6+ core AI system has been deployed, from transcription to plagiarism detection across ITB operations, and then it is already 100% implemented, adopted across all faculties and programs. So basically we relieve that we already reached the 100%, so it means there is no hesitance from the faculty as well as from the students to implement or to use the LMS. And then we use it in 2019 for the national exam. So where we use this one to screen the candidate of our government office. So what's next? So that's the point, right? For the ASEAN, so hopefully by this event also, I hope we can get a connections, collaboration. So we try to expand partnership, and then also we try to localize technology, yes, especially those from different countries, they speak different languages and like that. So Vietnamese, Tagalog, and other regional languages, and hopefully we have the scale training So especially in ethical AI pedagogy. So now as the key takeaways, I think this is the last slide of mine. So AI coming is not for replacing human teacher, so but empowering the human teachers and also helping the learner, every learner, as they learn everything at their pace, and hopefully it can help, it can inspire the next generations to to do more and to live their life to the fullest. So hopefully by the end of this season, and then after this we can collaborate in building the new future educations that is with the help of AI. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Utama, for those excellent insights and practical examples of how innovation can be put into action. Your sharing, Dr., really highlight how we can move on from just experimenting, this AI technology into actually embedding it into teaching and learning. Thank you very much. So now we'll turn to Prof. Dato' Dr. Muhammad Fauzanuddin from International Islamic University Malaysia. He will share his thoughts on addressing humanistic educational challenges in the AI era through Islamic perspective. Let me read the bio, Dato'. Professor Dato' is a Deputy Director. He's the Deputy Director for Student Development and Community Engagement and Professor at IIUM, Kuliah of ICT. Earned his PhD from the University of Wales. He previously served as advisor on AI and digitalization for the Higher Education Minister. He's also an adjunct professor at UTM's Faculty of AI, FAI, and Director of IIIT East and Southeast Asia. Recipient of the DSPN, Dato', and 2021 Cyber Safe Award. He authored ICT and Islam, and over 100 publications. Dato', the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. All praise to Allah SWT. Salawat and salam to our Prophet Muhammad SAW. Thank you very much, Prof. Moderator, Prof. Nazri, my colleagues, panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and salam Malaysia Madan. I will start with this surah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqwim, summa radadnahu asfala safilin. This Allah stated in Surah At-Tin, verses 4 and 5, that Allah created man, the best man. We are the best creation. So when the theory is saying that the singularity, singularity will say that one day AI will supersede human being, I debunk because of this ayatul Quran. Because we believe no other thing going to be better than us. Then why we are worse? Then sometimes we are worse. Why? Because summa radadna was falsafili. This is why we are worse. Then the answer in Surah Al-Sham, wa nafsi wa ma sawwaha sawaha وَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And He who perfected him in proportion. Allah the one who perfected us. And then He showed him what is wrong for him and what is right for him. Indeed, he succeeds who purified his own self. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. The successful one is purify himself. But the one who fails, وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And indeed, it fails who corrupt his own self. So we are better or worse because ourselves. And this is, I coin, the hardware. And I'm going to touch on, humanistic education digital age. Professor Parsi, when I met him in University of Brunei Darussalam, he's from Melbourne, by the way, he asked us, what is the objective of education? So my answer to him, education must nurture body, mind, and soul. Three components: our body, our intellect, and our soul. Education today has lost its true humanistic purpose, focus on technology than human development. And Prof. Osman Bakar mentioned, like AI is just alatism. It's a tool. Alat. It's just a tool. It's not the objective. But sometimes we glorify AI and we forget other intelligence. Blurring of reality, virtual versus real experiences, erosion identity, jati diri. We ourselves do not know who we are. Sometimes we want to become robot, and robot want to become human. Human want to become AI, and we want to become a robot. So they are opposite. Sometimes we are confused whether we are man or woman. So this is a crisis of identity, confusion of ourselves and values, moral detachment, over-reliance on data automation, and dehumanization, treating humans as data, not moral being. We are being, we are not data. Islamic education views knowledge, yani ilm, as part of fulfill the divine purpose and human excellence. We call it al-insan al-kamil. AI, reshape learning. Of course, we hear from previous two panelists, is reshape learning. Yet creates confusion between reality and artificiality. Our reliance on AI tool, we confuse about cognitive development, further impairing critical and creative abilities. Sometimes we can't remember even our wife's phone number or our husband's phone number. Our children cannot differentiate between the birds, parrot, and the or the burung pipit and burung murai. They cannot differentiate between insect, the red ant and the black ant. For them, this insect. Because why? Too much reliance on the artificial. And yet, we have forgotten the natural intelligence. I'm going to touch later on. We should emphasize on pendidikan manusiawi, humanistic education, and to sustain dignity and karamah insaniah in ethics in use AI. Humanistic education balance technology tools with humanistic principle. Professor Nakib Alata said, education should cultivate the soul, not just the intellect. And Professor Lewis from Harvard University is saying that excellence without soul. We have students with flying CGPA score 3.9, 4 flat, or 3.5, but lack of morality, without soul. Okay, this I share with you, Professor Parsi Salberg. He just presented this at University of Brunei Darussalam. Over the past decade, there has been virtually no improvement, I repeat, no improvement in the learning outcome of students in the Western world. And when I asked him privately, how about Asian? He said the same thing. So Western and Eastern, the same. Even though expenditure on schooling rose by 20% during this period, starting to year 2000. The data research increasing more. Cost per student is keep increase, but student sense of belonging in school declining. Student well-being declining. Student achievement declining. Equity of education also decreasing. So this is the fact that the OECD presented by Prof. Parsi from Melbourne. And you can read the comment by OECD or UNESCO or World Bank. They are worried the direction of our education. And the direction of school education, the output of school education, is the input of our university, higher education. Now, I want to focus on my proposal. I quote also my rector, actually, Prof. Moderator, I'm deputy rector, not director. Okay, okay. AI represents humanity's effort to imitate, emulate, and replicate the nature of intelligence within human through various forms of technology. We can talk, you want AI can talk. We can walk, you want AI can walk. We can listen, you want AI can listen. I remember the hadith by Rasulullah SAW saying that, وَخَلَقَ Adam min surati. Khalaqal Adam min surati. Allah created Adam alayhi our prophet, from his image. What does it mean? Meaning that Adam can talk. The prophet Adam, Allah SWT, when he created Adam from his image, means that we have the character of Ar-Rahman, merciful, Ar-Rahim, merciful, most compassionate and most true. But the character of Ar-Rahman is Abdul Rahman. The character of Ar-Rahim is Abdul Rahim. Al-Aziz, Abdul Aziz. Al-Malik, Abdul Malik. Al-Wahhab, Abdul Wahhab. So the character of God is with us, but we are not God. We want to create AI with our character, can walk, can talk, can listen, can hear. AI can do that. But they cannot become us. Like we cannot become God. Because God created us. We create AI. Okay, the nature of intelligence is understood as subtle, intangible, yet like known, closely related to faculty of reason. This exists multiple layers of natural intelligence. I will going to explain at least 5 layers of NI. NI, natural intelligence. AI serve as tools for human benefit, designed to fulfill device human needs and to solve an increasing range of human problems. For example, application from economic, medical, even the world economy. However, AI must not be misused for destruction of human lives or our property. Okay, this is the slide being presented by Prof. Osman, but I give the shara amid the differences. Then it is more the explanation. Prof. Osman laid down the 5 sense of natural intelligence that we want the AI can emulate. For example, sensory. In Arabic, al-hawas al-khams, the 5, 6 sense, is natural intelligence is empirical perception guided by ethics. But AI use sensors and data and input. Some viewpoint we require moral context. Whether you use your sensor, how you use your sensor, your eyes, is a moral context. Imaginative, khayal. For natural intelligence, creative synthesis, emotional depth. AI use pattern-based generation. AI lack of intentional creativity, creative thinking. AI lack, of course, it can improve themselves. Number 3, rational, akal and fikir. NI, natural intelligence, is guided by wahyu. Wahyu is the ilham. Later, number 4, wahyu is like, we will, is something that guided by God. Then AI, algorithmic reasoning, use algorithm. By the way, algorithm, the names after Al-Khwarizmi. And Al-Khwarizmi, there's a village of Al-Khwarizm in Uzbekistan. Kazakhstan. And the Islamic viewpoint, rationality must be served truth. This is problematic with this. We emphasize must be based on truth. But deep learning, alhamdulillah, based on truth. But how about deep fake? How about AI based on false? How about AI based on Trump theory of post-truth? They have truth, they are post-truth. They are truth, they are alternative truth. For us, truth is the truth. It's not alternative, it's not post-truth. Intuition, ilham, inspired, insight, fitrah-based is natural intelligence. AI has used a statistical correlation. AI lack a divine intuition. And finally, here come spiritual conscience, Golden Salim. AI don't have spiritual or moral sense. If this AI robot smile more than 1,000 times, maybe he's fall in love. But if smile more than 1,000 times, if sour face more than 1,000 times, maybe he hate me. So this is the logic they use. But we are using only human hardware here. I'm going to explain what is the hardware. You have machine, the hardware. Inside the hardware is the software. Who developed the hardware and software is peopleware. And inside the peopleware is the hardware. Holbun Salim. Okay, these are finding balance between empower educators, design connection, prioritize critical thinking, guided ethical use, and keep human-centered. I think I don't have much more time. I'm going to skip this. And of course, my suggestion to reconnect knowledge with divine values, tauhid, or reconnect with Tuhan, ketuhanan. In our rukun negara, kita ada kepercayaan kepada Tuhan. Then foster ethical reflection and spiritual awareness, digital learning. Balance cognitive, emotional, spiritual intelligence. Just not intellectual, but emotional and also emotional intelligence. And spiritual. Educate learners as servant, Abdullah, and steward Khalifatullah. Promote AI for good health, education, and social justice. And these are the model that I explained just now. The machine is hardware. The machine cannot operate without the software. Who develop hardware and software is the peopleware. But most important thing is the hardware, Holbun Salim. We can have the sophisticated machine, the latest software. But if the heart is so problematic, they can crack, they can hack. The problem is with us, human beings. It's not with the machine. Machine is just tools. And is the correlate with Prophet Muhammad SAW hadith. If this part of body is hasanah, kullu jasad hasanah. If this part is sayyat, the whole body is bad. And we begin with data, we process data, we have data communication, data workers, data management, data society. We end up become data that we process become information workers, information technology for society. Information that has value become knowledge workers, knowledge economy, knowledge society, and knowledge communication. But the highest is wisdom communication. We're going to have wisdom workers. We have wisdom society, wisdom management, and we must have AI that use the wisdom. Finally, the last slide is very important. AI should serve humanity, not replace it, like Anugerah Utama, Dr. Prof. Utama saying that you cannot replace. Of course, we believe it. Islamic education provides balanced model combining intellect, ethics, and spirituality. By embedding Holbun Salim, we forget that AI is outside of our system, but AI, the IT, is part of our system. And how to connect it is using Holbun Salim. Islamic education balance and embedded AI with 5 layers of intelligence. And education can restore meaning and moral integrity in a digital age. Prosman Bakar said we should emphasize more natural intelligence rather than AI, artificial intelligence. Of course, we need AI. Doesn't mean that we have to throw AI. We should promote AI. But don't forget natural intelligence. And true intelligence is the light of the heart guided by divine truth. This Al-Ghazali. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dato, for that deep, thoughtful presentation. You have highlighted that as we advance technologically, all the AI things and tools, our educational mission must be grounded, on this, grounded and guided by values, ethics, and also human consciousness. And so that, I think, answer about that true intelligence, Dato' given, and I think you would not agree on transhumanism, so I mean, it's coming near Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, warn us all about that. Anyway, to conclude this first round, we have Mr. Warren Liu. You said don't call me Mr. So Warren Liu. Mr. Warren Liu, an entrepreneur and technology leader whose experience spans digital transformation across Southeast Asia. He'll be speaking on effective AI change management in organization. Warren Liu is one of the main founding members of Consortium AI Negara, KAIN, as well as the founder of Super N8N. Right? He leads some of the main startup groups, students or lecturers interested about startups. We have our Malaysian leaders in these startup groups in Malaysia and Asia. So Warren previously ran Imagine Group as CEO of a 250 pax SaaS company. Prior to that, Warren started his career in energy trading and management consulting. Warren,
thank you.
The floor is yours.
I'm probably the most underqualified because I'm the only one in the panel without a professorship or a PhD, right? And my talk will not be as philosophical as Prof. Muhammad Fauzan's or Professor Annabelle's in terms of teaching pedagogy, or even Dr. Nugraha's points about rolling out scalable systems across Indonesia. But what I'm going to do and what I'm going to share today is really about our experiences in terms of rolling out AI transformation across organizations. Basically, I represent the lead right now, where my partner and I, over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, we train about 700 people overall. And these are 700 people being trained face-to-face, physically, over 2 days, and they're all paying customers. So what I would like to impart over here will be our insights in terms of what the private sector actually needs in this age of AI, so that some of the elements and some of the principles can hopefully be considered to be included in the syllabus and the things to be taught to our kids and our students and also our faculty members as a way to really prepare the workforce for the future. Next slide, please. All right, so basically, as what I mentioned, but the lead has been around for 10 years. Dr. Lau, my partner, has got a PhD in machine learning from University of Queensland, and has been teaching data science and analytics over the past 10 years. So the two of us, we started off during the early days of MAGIC, which was a government agency that was set up to build the startup and digital ecosystem here in Malaysia. I was running the largest startup accelerator program for ASEAN. That's why the relationships span across the whole region. And Dr. Lau was helping to run MAGIC Academy, which focused on technical education. Not from an academic perspective, but rather applied know-how from development, data science, full stack development, and so on and so forth. And over the past 10 years, we've trained about 700 data scientists and data engineers. If you go and meet most of the data scientists, or a lot of people who are CDOs or chief data officers in a lot of enterprises and corporates in Malaysia, they've been trained by Dr. Lau, right? Because when we first started, there was not much of an ecosystem over here. We train a lot of full stack developers as well, but the more interesting number is actually these 600 participants that we train on AI agents and AI vibe coding. And we'll talk more about it later. We've been bootstrapped, this has all been private sector driven, and literally organizations are willing to pay for it because there's a lot of appetite for things like automation. Automation as a way to improve efficiency and to allow the workforce to produce more, to be more effective, and to serve more accurate work. And basically, the kind of training that we do is hands-on, face-to-face, people sitting in a classroom, everybody will have their laptops out to be doing things. Because our philosophy is to learn about technical application, you need to do it yourself, right? Even I myself have participated to actually learn about AI automation using AI agents. Anybody who comes to you and says, I've been training AI within enterprises for the past 10 years, he or she will be lying. Because agentic automation only came about in the last, I would say, 12 months, and in the last 6 months, the tools have matured further, right? So, this is literally something that we've been doing over the past 5 to 6 months. So there's myself. I'm not going to delve too deep into it. We were on the advisory board for F4RN, and so National AI, organizations, steering committee, and so on and so forth, right? But Consortium AI Negara is basically not even a registered entity or an organization registered ROS, but it's a WhatsApp group. I believe many of you, some of the professors and some of the deans in the Faculty of AI and Computer Science, they are all also in the group. If you are not, then if you'd like to be included, please speak to myself or Dr. Nazri or Professor Maizato, right? And I think a couple of you guys are also in it right now. Essentially, it's a WhatsApp group of 300 over people from not just the academy circles, but also the government agencies, as well as all the startups in the AI space. And it's a way to really accelerate the diffusion of information to build up an ecosystem. We don't have much of an ecosystem in Malaysia compared to the US or China or India, and Europe. But what we can hope to foster over a forum like this is capacity and the velocity of exchanges so that we can all grow the ecosystem together. So there's Dr. Lau, he appears on media, talking about open source and data. That's myself, I appear on media once in a while as well. So we're seen as people who can speak with credibility, right? And when we talk about adoption, right, across the organizations that we've seen, and the kind of companies that we train are amongst the largest companies to the smallest companies, startups to SMEs to companies like CTOS, Petronas, Shopee. In fact, we're running a session, over the coming 2 days for Zeus Coffee, and they've got 1,000 chains. In the month of October itself, we ran 7 training sessions, including 2 public ones and 5 private ones, right? And typically what we focus on is actually a holistic way to look at implementation across the entire organization. So from a top-down perspective, we always tell the bosses, right? The founders, the CEOs, the C-suites, the faculty heads, anybody who's leading an organization, you need to lead from the top. And you need to understand what's possible by being hands-on, because only then are you able to map out the possibilities of what automation is and what applied AI is. So for example, I think many of you are coming from the Faculty of Computer Science and AI. So I'm sure many of you have tried your hands at being hands-on with things like vibe coding, where you enter a prompt and a series of prompts and as long as you know how to describe things accordingly, you can get an application built up. Where the cost of building applications has declined by 90% in comparison to just. So what does this open up? It opens up new paradigms of business models and possibilities to create products and services that will add value to society and all of us, right? And in terms of adoption across the organization, it's top-down, where it has to be in. So most of the time, I've got the founders of BFM, I've got the CEOs of CCM, and Zeus Coffee all attending, right? Because they need to go through the motion themselves in order to speak the same language and terminology across the entire organization. So I would know what an LLM is, what a model is, what memory is, what is Claude, what is OpenAI, what's context window, what tokens, how do I calculate the different economics, right? What is vibe coding, which models do I use, what's the difference between OCR as well as multimodality models. So getting everybody consistent in terms of the terminology and glossary helps to communicate across the entire organization, because right now most organizations are at a stage where their employees are using ChatGPT. Everybody uses ChatGPT, right here? Right? Who uses Claude? Some lah. I would say maybe 20%, right? But did you know that Claude is actually the most powerful model to be used for programming? And which is why it's a number 2, and Prof. Nazri knows very well, right? Because he's hands-on in programming. So if you've not tried Claude, if you've not tried Gemini, if you've not tried Grok, right? You should try even the Chinese models as well, right? So the awareness goes beyond just using ChatGPT in a day-to-day work to summarize my email, write a report, write a performance appraisal. But rather, it's going to the stage where it's really about adoption in terms of process automation. I was speaking to the CEO of one of the leading airlines in Malaysia, without putting a name to it, right? One of the low-cost budget airlines. And here's 1,500 people doing financial operations. So apakah maksud financial operations? Reconciliation, OCR. I eyeball here, I enter into the system. Right? I compare between Excel and this and so on and so forth. So benda-benda macam ni, all these things are not efficient nowadays when it can be done automatically using AI. Which is why, as part of changing the economy and changing the way we work and preparing the workforce of the future, we need to train the people across the organizations and the people who are graduating to be architects. To be able to be engineers. not really like doing technical engineering, but every concepts, right, to control and combine systems together into the Lego blocks as a way to roll things out holistically as part of AI transformation. So basically, we split our programs according to citizenship analytics. Basically, everybody can do it, right? So anybody who's not technical can learn to be semi-technical nowadays, the low-code and no-code systems, because that's what AI is able to do, right? With the progress of LLMs, in comparison to 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Even now, the chatbots that we are all able to do right now in 1 hour will be better than the chatbot from AirAsia 5 years ago. I'm sure many of you have complained to Bo before, right? The chatbot about your refunds or your delays, right? But now the state of technology where the LLM has able to reach a point of personalization at mass, at a scale and at a cost that's 90% or 95% lower than the past. This opens up new possibilities and new imagination and new business models. So from the citizenship level all the way to developer level, where the semi-technical people become people who can actually ship products, which was previously inaccessible to the rest, all the way to mastery. So it allows organizations to move a lot faster with fewer resources. So these are our clients. Over the past 10 years, we trained a lot on the left-hand side, and on the right, I ran out of space to put the logos, right? But essentially, yeah, it's packed up, right? You can recognize a lot of names over there. So, like, what's the typical structure of a program? And maybe some of you who are in the faculties can think about it, right? For agentic automation, right? We are tool agnostic, whether it's using different LLMs and so on and so forth. But whether you want to use Make or Zapier or Power Automate or NAN, right? It doesn't matter. The key thing is about first principles. So when we train about first principles, for people who are not technical over here, we talk about what would be the terminology used, right? And how to choose the right models. What are examples of triggers and models and memory and output so that you can string things together to be able to construct processes and improve on processes, right? And it's hands-on because anybody who participates, you go through 5 or 6 examples of going through to build the muscle memory. Yeah? So it's like, you teach people how to use the Lego blocks, right? In 2 days, you will not be experts, but at least you know how to build a simple model car or a sandcastle, right? And so on and so forth, right? So what, at the end of 2 days, they build on top of platforms they are familiar with, whether it's Microsoft or Google or Amazon, doesn't really matter. But you string things together, you pull things together, you add on and inject the LM layer inside it, because robotic process automation has been around for the past 10 years or so. But now with LLMs, you can do a lot more, right? And you string things together through drag and drop interfaces. And at the end of it, you can be able to, number 1, build your own processes. Number 2, use processes from others because you understand and can read the Lego blocks. And number 3, when you speak to vendors also, you are smarter, so you will not get cheated. Then at least you know what's the true cost of building something new, right? So an example, I'll just give you an example. Why is this important for us to teach our kids, right? And it's not just people who will be from the IT faculty or AI faculty. It's a living skills. It's kemahiran hidup nowadays. 30 years ago, when we were all studying at university, right? We were all learning how to use Microsoft PowerPoint and Excel and Word. Remember, right? Part on digitization. We moved from projectors and OCR and the transparent film to PowerPoint, right? Everybody had to learn here in the halls. But now, everybody will have to learn about agentic automation because this is going to change the workflow and it's going to change the workforce. And something here is not a fad, and it is actually going to disrupt the workforce. We will have hundreds of thousands of Malaysians who will be losing their jobs. These are mostly white-collar workers, not blue-collar workers. Why? Because a lot of low-hanging fruit in terms of reconciliation, blah, 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 right? All this should ideally be done by machines because it's low-value add work. Right? The redefinition of what actually is work is something that Sam Altman has also said, right? Something that used to be valuable is now getting devalued because it can be done at a cost which is so much lower that it depends on whether the society is willing to pay for it. So an example is this. I would upload a form, into a Google form. I use a Google Gemini model to read it. I extract the information. I put it into Excel automatically across my tables. I analyze it. I trigger a Microsoft Teams message, and I trigger a Microsoft Outlook message. Simple, right? It's not complicated. But something like this will save a person 4 or 5 hours a week. And with that, it's very easy to measure the ROI. Another example, right? Like this, financial reconciliation. Anybody from the accounting faculty or for finance department? Right? Yeah. So every single organization, small, medium, big, right? They always think about, I need to compare between two different spreadsheets manually, one by one. I use pivot tables, I use VLOOKUPs, I use HLOOKUPs, whatever, right? But now, everything can be done automatically. Something that would have taken 10 hours to do would take just 30 seconds, 5 minutes. So that is the scale of the kind of ROI that we should be preparing our workforce and our organizations in the future for. Not in the future, now actually. So this is agentic, something for you to think about, how to bake into your own programs and how to actually integrate in your own operations within the respective universities and faculties. And it's not just AI, but across the entire organization. We have also been conducting courses on vibe coding. So vibe coding is you enter something and you get something out in return. So again, we use tools like Cursor, and it's not just the Western models. You need to learn about the Chinese models as well, because the world is getting bifurcated into two, US and China, in terms of the AI models. And then you have some from Europe here and there, right, on it. So, basically something like this dashboard, right? For all of you who are technical, how long will it have taken for you to build something like this? A week? 2 weeks? This was built, I think it was built by Dr. Lau in 15 minutes. So that is the scale of increase in productivity that we need to prepare ourselves for, right? As a way to also teach the kids. And then we've got data science courses using Python and 9, but it's also changing. In the past, right, it would have taken you years to practice enough Python to be an effective data scientist. But now AI can actually write the SQL, can write the Python code, can write scripts, right? And what you need to train and what we need to learn together is how to be an architect and a big picture person to pull things together. So like this also, right? This dashboard was built in 2 minutes. Right? So it's about changing how we define productivity going forward, and having the right context layer and so on and so forth. Right? So 80-20 rule is just how we think about automation and application of AI. It's very easy. Like I said, if you can save 4 or 5 hours per head count, right, it's very easy to quantify the ROI. It's a no-brainer, actually. Right? Typically when we deal with all these organizations, we focus on 80-20 rule, and even 80-20 rule. So your first 10 to 50% of productivity will come from using ChatGPT. Another 15-20% will come from this basic process automation. Next, 15-20% will come from further automation in terms of customer service, customer care, user touch points, experiential design, and so on and so forth. So the same organization with half the workforce will be twice as productive going forward, as long as they adopt it in the appropriate manner. So my advice to a lot of the students over here is pick up the right tool, more productive than the graduates who graduated 3 years ago. Right. I've got 5 interns right now, right? I had 4 from UITN, all 4.0 grads. If Dr. Nuruzi is around, I'll be very thankful to her. I've got another one from MMU as well, right? So over the 3 or 4 weeks, they were able to do automation, they were able to be vibe coders, and any of you have 4.0 grads, right? You have supposed to have this task to me, right? I'm always looking. Right, so what do we do, right? So we educate the C-suites, we deploy fast, we help them to map out in terms of ROI, and leverage an existing ecosystem, but we push on momentum, quick wins as a way to get changes implemented. So we map the value and so on and so forth. So here are my contact details. If any of you would like to get in touch, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn or on WhatsApp. I will be responsive over there. So that's all I have to share. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, I'll be around later on.
Thank you very much to Mr. Warren, right, for that practical industry experience, because all this previous we were talking, from the academic perspective, so very nice. So those who are aiming to do internship with Mr. Warren, make sure for plan, and you can reach straight away to him. Right, so for the next round, round 2, may I kindly invite all our panelists to please come forward. Right, take your seats on stage. I think they have the names here. And for the audience, are you still okay? Right, because it's 2.5 hours. Someone said to me, and they never been to a forum that is 2.5 hours. Right, it's quite too long. Also for our panelists. I hope this discussion, we'll get more insight. Even though we are running a bit, late, maybe based on the time, but it's all right. Okay. Prof, just make yourself comfortable. Right? Okay. Right, so these segments, we invite our panelists to reflect on both sides of the coin, right? How AI is actually driving innovation across universities in ASEAN, right? ASEAN and non-ASEAN as well, but because this is an Asian ASEAN forum, right? But we want to also know how our region can lead in ensuring responsible and ethical use of this technology. So to begin, we turn once again to Dr. Annabelle. Prof, and Dr. Dato, from your perspective, how can insights from neuroscience and learning science of learning is now, can guide ASEAN universities in using AI to enhance teaching and learning responsibly?
Thank you for the question. I think it's really important. Again, I'm coming from science of learning and cognitive neuroscience. I think one of the things I think all the speakers have indicated either overtly or implicitly is that we have to focus on human-centered AI. So from science of learning, I think the focus is on how humans and the layer, I guess, is then how can we use AI to facilitate this learning? So AI as a technology. But in trying to understand how humans learn, we have to understand that our brain is continuously changing. Even when we are adults, we still have what we call neuroplasticity. That means there's flexibility in learning. So if we learn new things, we actually form new networks in our brain. And as we practice, as we master, these networks get very well formed. However, networks or things that we don't practice anymore or we don't think about much more, it weakens. Right? So what we see from here is the brain is very dynamic, and also it's very dependent on this learning. So whatever system we built for AI, first of all, it's interactive, right? Actually, a lot of the AI algorithms are trying to emulate, to learn from how the human brains work. But in reality, we are still doing research. That's why I'm still here as a researcher. It's like we don't fully understand how the brain works because it's really magical in a way. So what the brain can do is still far advanced to what an AI system can do. And one of the best things currently right now, I don't know how fast AI will grow, but one of the things is metacognition. Humans can analyze, can extract out overall picture very quickly from a lot of information. AI is still working on that. I think they're still trying to map this cognition into AI. It's still very, very challenging, but who knows? If we have enough power, compute power, that all can advance. And the other thing that we need to emphasize is one of the sayings that you've heard of, we feel, therefore we learn. So if you think about it, when we learn something, we have to be engaged. Emotions are involved. Oftentimes, when we talk about learning, we separate out cognition, cognitive processes and all that. We forget about emotions. But if you look at a child, when they learn something new, there's a lot of emotions involved, especially language, right? When a very young child, when you speak to your toddler, or even babies, like mothers, we tend to express in a different way. We slow down, we call motherese or fatherese, like, how are you? You have sing-song voice and you lengthen certain words. It's to help them to understand and also interact. So you have that, what we call human touch in learning, and that's true. There's empathy involved, there's emotional transaction going on when you learn something. So one of the things that drives home is engagement and motivation. So in a way, if we think about building an AI system, it can facilitate that. How does it facilitate engagement and also improve emotions and all that while we are learning? Positive emotions, so that you're motivated to continue and persevere on something that's very challenging. So in the same way, how we explain that in the brain is that when there's engagement, there's motivation, we actually activate what we call neurotransmitters or neurochemicals in the brain that would enhance memory systems as well, so that what we learn would also stick, right? So that what you can remember it better. Then after that, you could then develop more advanced or metacognition so that you can apply it to other contexts and situations for novel problem solving. That's what humans can do. So how can AI systems can facilitate that rather than replace it? I think it's facilitate our learning. And the other thing I really like what Dr. Gautama also mentioned at the end is that AI is not replacing the educator, but rather supporting. So think of it like all the automation that Warren has talked about, right? All this automation. So as an educator, what's the most tedious thing? Marking, right? Or setting, mundane questions and all that. But what we need to do is actually maybe develop systems for the repetitive things that humans are actually not good at because we find it boring, we lose engagement, we are not interested in doing it. Let the technology take over and automate stuff so they give us more time to mentor our students, to be able to interact with them better, to support them emotionally as educators. So that is our role. We like to do that, but the problem is that we don't have enough time to do it one-on-one, right? So hopefully systems like that will help us automate these mundane actions or even administrative stuff that faculty have to do, looking at sometimes budget for grants and all that, so all these can be formed by, as long as we know what's going on, that's important, but all these underlying mechanisms or administrative stuff can be taken by technology so we can focus more on the important stuff that we are good at, engagement, motivation, to inspire our students in education. So I think that's something that's important for all universities, but especially ASEAN. I can go on actually, but I don't know if I have time. Because the other thing that's really nice to have this ASEAN community, I was really touched this morning by the ASEAN minister. There was quite a few talks, but it's like one community, one identity, one something. But it's like all things. But it's like we are so close together. We can form a community. Why? Because there's a lot of diversity in all the different ASEAN countries. I was just talking to a colleague from Bandung last night. She was telling me, because I was asking, what's the difference between Bahasa Melayu, Bahasa Indonesia, and then what do you speak in Bandung? It's like, even just Malay, it's very different. There's many dialects. So there's diversity and richness in our culture. Even in Singapore, we have all kinds of different languages. So can large language models deal with that? Right? Can we, work together to have what we call federated learning, where you can have your data, you have your systems locally, but then we can have a platform as ASEAN nations to share knowledge, to share all these developments as principles that could be applied across. So forming such a platform is very important as universities, as higher education across the different nations, to leverage on our diversity, to build models, and I believe we can do that properly. We can even be global leaders in a very diverse, fragmented world. We can be working as one. And also the other thing is, just now I talked about language. If you don't realize it, all of you are bilinguals at least. Some of you are multilinguals, but at least you understand English and your mother tongue or some other language. And do you know that from neuroscience, what we found is bilinguals actually have better executive function because we're good at code switching. So we're more flexible. So why not leverage on that, on our bilingualism in terms of learning, and how do we then build bilingual AI system or multilingual AI systems to leverage on this, not to take over our jobs or anything, but to facilitate our own learning, to leverage on our event. Okay, I think I
Thank you so much, Brian Bell. I mean, there's a lot to comment there, but she came from this neuroscience, and then we are still learning about how brain actually works. And I got to know that neuron is not just there; it's also now they found that the neuron cells are in our heart as well. So there's so much going on there. But I agree with the mundane task. It's just that my concern is now the students were using all this LLM, and the lecturers are also doing the LLM. So it's the machine that are learning. Both sides. It's not the human. Because we keep on, getting stuck with just that tool that, is actually two robots or two machines talking to each other. So I mean that was some concern that I had with students and colleagues. Thank you so much, Prof. Annabelle, for that insight. Next we turn to Dr. Utama. There's another mic there? All right, okay. Right, Doctor, you have led many applied AI projects. If you check ITB, one of the top school institutions in Indonesia, you address all these real societal issues. I think I read your bio, you did some agriculture to behavioral monitoring just now. So how can ASEAN universities harness similar innovation, to tackle these local and regional challenges, especially in education or sustainability?
Okay, thank you, Prof, for the question. It's a very good, and it also is a very, how can I say, to respond it. But let me respond based on my experience in ITB. So in ITB, well, basically when we try to enhance our product and like that, we always use AI especially. We use the acronym. Our acronym is PROUD. PROUD. P-R-O-U-D. What is P? So P is we focus on the problem-driven technology and like that. So we engage the government, we ask the educator, we ask the community organizations to somehow co-designing the real case, and we try to the real use case, and then we try to develop and then help them. This is the solution from the AI point of view. And then the second is about the R, is we focus on the real, how can I say, the real problem that is focused on the local case. So we focus to ourselves first. So what is the problem within? Then we try to give solutions of that one. So the first is the problem driven, and then the second is we focus on the real local case, and then after that we try to how can I say, we prioritize any research and also the grant that is related to the open. So after you receive this grant, you need to open your data, you need to open your algorithm. So that's why the third is O, is the open system, like that. So the data, the algorithm, etc. So we can somehow other can reproduce the algorithm, and we maintain the quality of that one. And then the U is upgrading. So we teach faculty, we teach a community about the functions of AI. How can we use AI to make our life better, and like that. And then the last one, we always try to D. What is the D? Okay, the D is documentation. So we start with a small project, ethical one, and then we do a piloting, and then we can somehow documenting the best practices. What is good, and then what is fail, and like that. So failing is also a type of learning. So that's why we documenting what is not good, what is good, and something like that. So in my opinion, if we, especially from the university of point of view, if we do the proud university, it will somehow benefit bring AI benefits for all. Okay, so that's my answer. I think it's okay, right?
Thank you, Dr. Utama. So you have a crowd to guide you, in all those innovation and, Dr. Utama pun open kan tadi for collaboration, whoever wants to collaborate, and Prof. Annabelle also, suggested or motivated for us to all get together and to tackle, all these issues, by working together. So, Prof. Dato, we turn to Prof. Dato. Sorry for the Deputy Rector kan, itu salah baca, makin rabun sekarang. Right, Prof. Dato, very philosophical just now with your presentation. So my next question would be, how can universities, we can nurture this AI-ready culture among staff and students. Many of us, I think all the students now, are using AI and also the lecturers. But we're not just embracing that technological innovation, but we also stay aligned with all those values that you mentioned: trustworthiness, amanah, accountability, human dignity. So how can universities nurture that from your experience?
Thank you, Prof. First, AI is not just for science and technology group of people. AI for all. AI is just not for computer science, IT, engineering, but AI also for psychologists, AI for economists, AI for education, AI for law, or AI for social scientists. So AI for everybody. AI is like ICT 10, 20 years ago. Like first we have this faculty of ICT or kuliah of ICT, but now everybody use ICT. 2-3 years from now, AI is like mass. Like it or not, it's there. So meaning that AI for all, that everybody can have to use, whether you are faculty of education, or faculty economics, faculty of sociology, faculty engineering, medicine, pharmacy, dentist, name it, you have to use AI. This is the first thing. So we have to integrate AI in all faculty, not just exclusive for computer science or faculty of AI or engineering, number one. Number two, how to maintain these values or these ethical values. So I would like to bring this Al-Farabi concept of Madani. Al-Farabi concept of Madani is simple. It's 4. Anwar, our prime ministers have 6, but he made 4. Actually, Anwar referred to his concept. The first concept is promote truth. Promote truth. All of us, whether you are Chinese, Indonesian, Indian, Kadazan, Murut, all of us, Asian, European, you have to promote truth. You don't promote false, you promote truth. So AI should promote truth. So when it's deep fake, it's wrong, something wrong somewhere. So we're not allowed to ask our students or system developers, system programmers and solution architects to promote the system. They promote deep fake, scam. Now in Malaysia, I don't know about Indonesia and Singapore, we are losing 1.6 billion through scam. I'm sitting here in this hall, the scammers calling by Truecaller. I know this scammer. So they are business, and their business, they are using AI machine to scam us. And for us, for a campaign scam, anti-scam, it's not who, but when. Then there is number one, back to Farabi. Number one is promote truth. Number two, promote knowledge. We have to promote knowledge. Knowledge makes us different between us and other beings, because we have knowledge. And we are here because of knowledge. Festival of Ideas are full of knowledge. Okay? Yeah, knowledge. Number three, promote happiness. Happiness. Saida. So when you have this slaughter bot, that drone that can kill people, can identify who's the enemies, who's the friends, by search your data in your social media, then kill you. Well, in this classroom or this lecture hall. This is not allowed. The slaughter bot in this movie, you can Google, search in YouTube. They said the nuclear is obsolete because we have drone. They don't have sacrificed any army. They just send the drone and they kill people. And this is the imagination that they're going to have. And maybe they already have it. This is what happened in Gaza. They used the AI named Gospel to kill innocent women, innocent children, more than 76. And finally, of course, I can talk on and on. We have time. We have to be fair to others. Number finally is promote good deeds. So I repeat, number one, truth, promote truth. Number two, promote knowledge. Number three, promote happiness, not sad. That's why when George Rosenstein in Google, when he come up with the button, like button, he want to share the happiness among the users, among the social medias. Unfortunately, the users of Facebook did not receive enough jempol, like button, jempol. Di Indonesia dipanggil jempol. Jempol. Bila nggak dapat enough jempol, dia sudah sedih, then sad, then stress, then finally he add the jempol himself. Like sendiri ya. Jadi ini fenomena di mana kita, we wish someone to praise us, someone to like us, someone to say you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are smart. But yet we forget this is what Christian Harry said. What is the ultimate reward? The ultimate reward is we were pleased by God. We are different religions, but we have our own God. And better, in a situation where we are pleased by God, God pleases us, then it's perfect reward. So this is number one is truth, knowledge, happiness, and finally promote good deeds. And we don't want AI promote bad deeds. What's the bad deeds? Gambling, for example. Why you want to have AI that make people losing money? We promote business, economy, good businessmen, tijara. So not gambling. So this is my answer to it. And of course in Madang, we have this one of the two I want to, there are 6 concepts. Sustainability, we want to have AI on sustainability. Then AI with care and compassion, ASEAN. We are AI is not good. And then with respect, we want AI respect human being. We respect AI. Then we have innovation, new technology that with this is what Dr. Anwar Prime Minister said, different kind of AI. Then peace, prosperity, happiness, and finally trust. We want to trust AI. We would want to have the AI that scans us. So we can trust AI. Finally, also the AI trust us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dato. When Dato was talking about I'm looking at the repertoire. Everyone is like, scratching and writing, but they have to summarize it. But like Dato was saying about this AI technology that harms. I think one thing that comes to my mind is the Palantir, is it? And people were quite, it was used in...
By the way, to add here, Professor Kadaras, the neurosurgeon, he said this is digital drug. When we develop this social media, e-sport, e-games, and social media, it's not solution architect, programmers, but they also hire psychologists. Psychiatrists. That's why when we are playing games, somehow we're losing, they give us another weapon. Well, when we are almost died, even dead, they give you a second life. That's why we have a problem with us. That's why we touch on, sorry, I'm so excited about it. We have an incident that this boy, 9 years old, frustrated because he losing 1,000 points of these Roblox games, losing. Because his brother, younger brother, somehow accidentally, we call it the destroy of this phone. He just slashed his brother. Because for them, they do not know whether this is real or virtual. This happened in one of Bandar Utama here, when one of the boy just stabbed 200 times. And after he stabbing this guy, this lady, sister, the girl, he just drink the mineral water. Is like nothing, like just finished game. That's why we are worried whether you are real or virtual. And furthermore, I want to add last one, that don't give this gadget to your 10 years old children, because it stops growing neuron. I'm not neuron surgeon. I have to refer to you. They said whoever using ChatGPT versus this from MIT versus those don't use ChatGPT, your brain is shrinking and use ChatGPT. It's simple as if you don't exercise, you just sit here, your muscle doesn't work. So your brain's muscle doesn't work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dato'. Dato' very passionate about this. So digital drug, make sure we use it wisely. Dato'. All right, to conclude this round, Mr. Warren, okay. We have students, we have lecturers, who are very excited to know from the industry perspective. So we'd like you to brief us, share with us what are the key AI skills. Maybe some of them are technical, some of them are not, coming from that background. AI skills or literacies that, these regions, universities, we should prioritize to prepare future graduates, not just for employability, and also, like Dato' was saying, responsible, ethical innovation, don't do it so that people get addicted to it, but at the same time, we want them to be employable. And also, how can universities and industries, we can collaborate? We have been talking about collaboration, a few of us, but how can we do that? Your perspective, please.
So I think, for somebody to be able to add value and to be rewarded for it, whether it's, financially, or whether it's spiritually or intellectually, right? You need to be able to build something. You have to be a builder. So you have to be a builder, you have to be an architect, you need to be able to create things of value that people are willing to pay for, that people are willing to use, and people find whether it's to derive happiness or prosperity or value add. So the first thing to learn is actually how to build things. Not just people from the technical faculties, but everybody. Right? To build things, whether it's about, I was talking about AI agents, right? It's actually to know how to string processes together, so it's the build process. Vibe coding is about to build applications, right? To build games, to build simulations. Analytics is actually to rationalize, to decide, to be able to have greater clarity in terms of decision making. So those are the kind of the technical skills that even a non-technical person can pick up nowadays with the help of AI, right? From using AI agents to automate things, to building applications and simple tools to analyzing things better. That's on the technical side. But to be able to use all of this, right, and I will point to the different points that were highlighted by everybody, right, Professor Annabelle, to Dr. Professor Muhammad Fawzan, right? Fawzan, right, and Professor Utama, right? It's really about some universal things, like how to problem solve, how to see patterns. And if you look at Professor Babibi's background, right, she was in engineering and she was in medical engineering. Right? The opportunity set that all of you and all of us will have right now is to find the common ground between the intersex of industry or intersex of fields of study, right? And to create new ideas and build products, right? Like, Dr. Professor Muhammad Fawzan, right, just now, he's a very technical person because he takes care of the ICT thing, but he's also a philosopher. So the intersection between ICT and philosophy is where you can build new ideas. The intersection between medical sciences and engineering applications, right? Between, let's say, for example, AI, and I don't know what you were doing at Yahoo, but search, I'm guessing, right? Or text semantics, right? And image processing, the structure of language itself, right? Sociology, anthropology, all these things are kind of related. So if you can find your own intersection, or even, let's say, Professor Annabelle, right? Dr. Annabelle. It's about pedagogy. How do you actually use AI to shift from the focus where most of our jobs right now, it's 30% work that we enjoy, 70% is all this bureaucracy, right? And 30% is what we enjoy in terms of intellectual stimulating work, creating new things, teaching, adding value. 70% is filling paperwork, hiring people, disciplining people, right? Marking papers, reporting, and so on and so forth. So all of that, right? If you can really shift and automate half of that, right? And you shift your work towards 60 or 70% of doing things that you really enjoy and what the work is meant to be in the first place. That's how we increase our productivity. So to summarize, right, it's really, number one, having a holistic overview about the tools that are available and you can use them accordingly. Number two, being able to see patterns between the intersections of different disciplines and different faculties and different universities, different relationships. And number three, the thing that I want to add on, and Professor Dr. Annabelle put it very nicely, right? When you feel, you learn. So one of well, there are a few things that can be replaced by AI. One is, the ability to actually evoke and invoke your human empathy and feelings and emotions. Because with that, you can build the relationships, you can invest into social trust and credibility, you can actually pull relationships together to build things. Right? That's one thing. Another one is actually the ability to actually relate to another person in terms of, whether it's a spiritual affinity, right, intellectual affinity, or social economic background, right, or your own interests. Okay, I like to play football, I like to play pickleball. Right? The ability to relate and to build the relationships, right, it's also something that AI can really replace right now. And then third thing is also to recognize AI is great at mimicking. AI is actually superior to all of us in terms of writing, an essay now, right, or a complaint letter. That's the truth, right? But AI doesn't create new culture. Your human creativity, whether it's to write a piece of poetry or to create, to tell a new story, to dream of something new. AI is not at that stage yet. But it doesn't mean that AI will not get there, right? Because the context window, right, or the tokens, it's getting better and better. If I have, an AI brain with 90% of intelligence, or 50% of every person in this room, right? But I can have 10,000 of people with the AI be able to retrieve more than each and every one of us individually? Most likely, yes. Right? So we need to prepare for that kind of future, but leveraging on our strengths as humans with shared Madani values, and human warmth and empathy, wanting to put emphasis on truth, knowledge, happiness, as well as the ability to generate value in society value.
Thank you so much, Mr. Warren. I think you macam salah career sikit. You should have become a lecturer. Very eloquent speaker. And he is supposed to be the moderator. He sort of like summarize, whatever. Maybe ada pernah dijemput ajang professor, lecturer somewhere? Ada. So this is opportunity. Because they said don't let lecturers hold it, but now I think don't let Mr. Warren, because he's got to become lecturer. Very passionate also. So thank you so much for all those insights for the panelists. So we move on to round 3 about human-centered features, right? So, and Prof. Dr. Mr. Warren. So we'll begin again with Prof. Dr. Annabelle. Soalan pun dah siap. And so I'm just going to ask around that team. So how can neuroscience, I'm always amazed with neuroscience, honestly, how brain works, it's that territory that I think is, because I've never worked in that, I'm really amazed with that neuroscience. But you're looking at neuroscience and education research, so I would like to know, since everyone is talking about empathy, emotion, social connection, which is very central in learning, so how can this neuroscience research and education research you've done can help this kind of AI-driven classroom, and can it one day help to identify accurately students with learning differences, and helping them, especially in this ASEAN diverse context?
Thanks for the question. Yes, indeed. when we talk about diversity, there's different aspects of diversity, right? Even in a regular classroom, we have cognitive diversity. So all of us learn differently, or different preferences, right? Some of us prefer more diagrams, others prefer more text. Also, some others need to sound it out to read audio text, and also integrate with different methods. So there's a lot of what we call individual differences. So as I mentioned earlier, actually part of psychology is trying to identify what are these individual differences that matters, especially in learning. How does it impact different ways that we learn? Even the speed, like we do watch videos, right? The speed of the video, some of us like to adjust it to 1.25. Not to like make it faster, but it's like, I think it's a matter of engaging. So we have tried various methods. Traditionally, what we do is we measure performance, accuracy, reaction time, but now we have non-invasive neuroimaging. So we can look at brain waves frequency, to look at attention, engagement, motivation, represented by those brain waves frequency, or sleepiness, right? Some of us are pretty sleepy right now in the afternoon. EEG is good at detecting that. Or even, just now I was talking to Dr. Utama, he's actually doing this kind of research. There's also facial expression, micro expression, eye tracking. So these are what we call more, maybe what we say objective measures. All these can be put together into an individual profile to identify how that person is reacting to the situation while they're learning. But at the same time, I think in the past it has been really difficult to do that in terms of, just I mentioned, multimodal data integration even with one person, because there's so much data to make sense of in an online basis. Because what's going on is like, if you want to know what to do on an online basis to help the person facilitate learning, we need to have a feedback loop. So it's iterative, ongoing. So that is itself is very human-centered. So I think the focus is like trying to understand how can we enhance learning first, then what kind of technology can come in to facilitate that, and the factors involved for that individual. So when we're learning something, is it getting too boring? Do we need to speed it up? Do we need to add something else in? Right now it's very difficult because you do it one by one, but then perhaps you think of a system that can do it automatically and adjust accordingly, adapt to what is needed. So again, it's facilitating the individual in learning. So when you talk about diversity or even neurodiversity in terms of learning difficulties in dyslexia, in dyscalculia, or in ADHD, or in autism spectrum disorder, there are different learning needs. Right now, what we have is one-to-one teaching, which is the most effective, right? Then we try to do smaller group teaching. It's not as effective, but still it helps. And then we come up with very specific methods. So what we do is we do a lot of research to identify what's the key ingredient that's needed in the teaching to help us maybe in dyslexia, in reading difficulties, what kind of exercise to do and all that. However, what really works is one-to-one to identify how fast the learner is learning and then what kinds of needs are needed. But if you can imagine, if you want to scale it up, right, and if we don't have enough trained, skilled manpower to do it, can we then have AI systems to do the basic foundation parts for practice and everything, but you still need a human. Remember, there's still emotion, engagement, motivation that's involved. So that is still needed, but at least it takes away the practice or where you need to reach more students with such needs. So I think from neuroscience perspective, we could help to identify the key ingredients of value add, but then a lot of key part just now, Warren also talked about interdisciplinary. We need collaborations between different disciplines. So like for example, a AI engineer, but who also know about cognition, who also know about psychology, it's very difficult to find such a person, but maybe at this point it's like we work together. We have expertise from different areas working together to build something for that particular situation using AI technologies. So from neuroscience, we can contribute in that perspective.
Thank you so much, Prof. Because when you're saying about using all those data so that the technology can understand it better, but I think I heard a historian or a philosopher, a modern philosopher, mention that the algorithm actually understands us more than we understand ourselves nowadays. Because without you knowing it, being suggested things that maybe this, because the more we use the data, the algorithm, the machine behind it, the learning behind it would understand human better. So I would not be surprised, by having all these kind of tools that, it could help us in a good thing rather than, in doing all those bad outcome. Right, Dr. Utama, we turn to you, and you have been talking about collaboration, so I would like to hear your vision on human AI collaboration. I was also involved with, we call it computer vision, right? Computer vision is not computer having vision, it's just, image processing, how computers see things. So how this human AI collaboration would shape the next generation of learning and design in ASEAN higher education, and if you can share how we can ensure, because you said, Indonesia quite broad, diverse, same in other places. So we have this well-resourced and under-resourced institution. How do we make sure AI doesn't, widen that inequality?
Okay, so continuing just like what Ananda answering the question. So in my point of view, in my opinions, the benefit of using AI is basically related to the personalized education. So personalized means that AI can be used to track the activity of the students, and then how far they understood the content, and then how the students can help, and can do catching up with the content, with the material of the subject, and like that. So basically, it helps the educators, the lecturers a lot. So AI gives a power, helping students to learn by his own pace, and then that's the AI help tracking that one. And as a lecturers, we just can giving insight, what is the values of learning this kind of thing. So we do not really somehow teach the details about this kind of equations, but giving these equations have the impact or the insight of the equations if you implement it in somewhere, like that. And then also the collaboration is related to the tracking progress. Yeah. So AI can taking the progress, and then what is the lecturer's it's the job, like that, right? So because of AI, we can, as a lecturers, we just can inspiring the next generation. So if you learn this kind of things, then what can you do for the society? What can you do to make an impact with the knowledge that you have understood, like that. So So the personalized progress, and then I think here, as we all understand, and then we also agree that diversity is basically not our limit. Our burden, but it's actually our superpower. So for your information, before AI have a penetration in case of a Google translation in Indonesia. So we ITB built our own Indonesian translation. So before, long time before, the LLM is already catching up with the technology. So we can surpass the quality of the translations into Indonesian. So it means we I don't know, it is a blessing in disguise or what, but we as Indonesians, maybe it's not really the language that has been used so many documented or kind like that. So when the technology from the US, kind of like a Google translations, come to Indonesia, we still can create a better one than the Google translations. So yeah, of course, I don't know. So maybe we cannot find the differences anymore today, but at that time, so it means somehow I can get an insight that our differences is actually our power. So let's collaborate, and then let's work together. We can win, just like a proposals. A few years back, nuclear is kind of like a country who possess the technology of nuclear will control the world. Now I believe that the country who use or the country which having kind of like AI knowledge will somehow rule the world as well. So now the technology is come from either USA or the China mostly, but now hopefully by the ASEAN we work together by like Prof. Annabelle also said, giving kind of like an open platform across the region. So hopefully we can be one of the regions who mastering the AI, and yeah, we don't lose behind, we don't lag behind, because by working together we can catch up with technology.
Thank you, Dr. So, I mean, it's not easy to have all the minds from different backgrounds having all together. Dia nampak kepala pun dah berasa asam kan. So everyone is still here. Okay, it's not easy for the panelists also to share, to have these questions and to answer, But we really appreciate you all being here, sharing all these insights, from your own perspective and so on. So I hope everyone's here. Malaysia memang kalau dah petang sikit ni dia ngantuk sikit kan. So do we have all the sweets there? Ada kan? They say brain works better if we stand up, and move around. They always encourage that to my student. Anyways, because everyone just went very quiet, so I was wondering. Now we turn once more to the Prof. Dr. Muhammad Fauzan, a balanced graduate. Okay, we are looking at our students here, as lecturers and also as students. What might a balanced graduate look like? One who is kalau technologically competent, yet spiritually and ethically grounded. So how do you see that balanced graduate?
I want to touch one thing. First about this ASEAN, the Nusantara. All the leaders from all over the world, from United States, Trump, South Africa, and then China, Brazil, of course ASEAN, Canada, Japan, name it. Why they are here? They are here not just Malaysian or Anwar bin Ibrahim, but because we are ASEAN. We are represent the strength. We are represent the things that they see the future. So AI is the future, ASEAN also is the future. And one of the terms that we use is Nusantara. Nusantara. Not just ibu kota Nusantara di Kalimantan. Nusantara ini maknanya, the definition of Nusantara is the in between the islands, antara pulau. And we are antara pulau. It's like networks. You can see the networks is strengthening, and the Nusantara, this pulau is we have this policy ZOPFAN, Zone, Peace and Littoral. So they are peace here. They are not peace in some other part in the world. That's why we can do economically, our political stable. So this is the future generation. And I don't want future generation like Prof. Pasi said. This light is on, it's better, isn't it? Yeah, wake up guys, wake up. Okay. If I'm a lecturer, probably I'm going to go back behind, see whether you are WhatsApping or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Okay. Now, yeah, wake up already. It's okay. No, it's happened like Popasi said. When the lecturers or professor want to do to design the assignment, he asked ChatGPT. So ChatGPT will design and come up with the proper assignment. Then he give the students. You know what the students do? The student will use ChatGPT. Then the ChatGPT will do the assignments on behalf of the student, and the students submit. And what the lecturers, the professor do? Ask ChatGPT to grade. Where's the human being is involved in between? So we educate the AI. We educate ChatGPT. We educate DeepSeek. Unfortunately, we don't educate ourselves. So my message to all of us here, including myself, we have to educate human beings, not the AI. AI is just a tools and technology. We use AI to educate us. And I want to emphasize on this Madani concept, because I'm one of the few involved in writing Madani. And I'm also the chairman of Madani Task Force in 20 universities of Indonesia. First, we want students that can sustain themselves. Can sustain first spirituality. You ask the Muslim in Ramadan, why they can control myself? Why in Ramadan they are better than other months? Because they are controlled spiritually. They sustain spiritually. Then you can sustain intellectually. You have to read. You have to gain knowledge. Rather than ChatGPT will think on your behalf. Outsource your thinking to your ChatGPT. You pajakkan pemikiran kamu kepada ChatGPT. Jangan. So, intellectual. Then sustain the physical, your body. You have to do exercise. You have to take care of your health. Then finally, take care of sustainability of financial sustainability. This first sustainability. Then C, care and compassion. You have to empathy. You cannot just simply sympathy, but empathy. You will feel it. Care and compassion. Care about our society. Care about what happened in other part of the world. Care about in what happened in Cambodia, in Thailand, when they have a war. We start to make a peace between them. Care and compassion. Then SCR, respect. So we want our graduates being respected, but before they are respected, they have to respect others. Then D is the third one is innovation. We want you to innovate new ideas, just not about technology, but new ideas, new method, new way of thinking, new friends, and new territory. It's just not enjoy the jago kampung on the just bawah tempurung. You have to expose yourself to other internationally. This innovation. And then SCRIPT, prosperity, you have happiness in this world and hereafter. Finally, people can trust you. Trust, T, trust. So this is, in English, Madani in English is script, SCRIPT. But in Malay is kemampanan, kesejahteraan, hormat, daya cipta, dan keyakinan. There's 6 of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. So, no ChatGPT, students,
They can use. I'm a professor in my lecture. My lecture is I'm teaching postgraduate. I allow them to use ChatGPT, but they must submit ChatGPT 0, plus they have to present. They understand.
No, because I was recalling, I'm involved in this GTSF, Global Teacher for Sustainable Future. It's sort of European Commission, under Erasmus. But I remember one student, I thought he was joking in the chat. We had students from Germany, Sweden, Spain, Malaysia. We learned using COIL. And when one of the assignment was to use ChatGPT, because we know the students are going to use ChatGPT. When the student asked in the comments, say, what is ChatGPT? We thought he was joking, but later on we got to know that he withdrew from that course because he don't want to use ChatGPT. He's a German student, so we were like, why taken aback? There's still students who don't use ChatGPT at all. Okay, very, principle they're very strong. Right. Okay, finally to Mr. Warren, and I would like to ask about human creativity. And we know that actually the younger generation, they are more creative. I remember a professor in Oxford, he was thankful, he was a sir already, but he always makes sure that students will graduate quickly and then being replenished, replaced with new talents, new students. Because he said all these new talents or young bloods, they are the one who bring in the creativity. As we get older, we are not that creative anymore. But my question would be, from this innovation and leadership perspective, how can we design AI tools that actually augment human creativity, helps in human creativity, rather than replace human creativity? Because I can see lots of AI tools that I believe are more creative than me, but what would be your perspective from this industry so that AI tools does not replace human creativity, and what can the private sector help to upskill these faculty and students in the AI use?
So I used to run software companies, where we build software to help people become more creative. So we had our own software called Pixlr, we have another brand called 123RF. That was in my previous career. But actually the reality is this, right? AI has already replaced the basic creativity. Because if you look at the industry right now, after ChatGPT got released, the copywriters couldn't find new work, 75% or 80% of the copywriters, right, have suddenly lost or have reduced income. It's the same with product photographers. It'll be the same with videographers. It'll be the same with people who write, who act. That's why, the Screen Actors Guild in Hollywood, they are protesting because of all these AI actors and AI influencers. Similarly, people who are selling on TikTok shop right now to sell chocolate, to sell whatever, right? All these things will also move to be AI avatars, where it's almost impossible for you to distinguish between a real and AI-generated human. Right? You might feel that, maybe AI, you think that AI cannot make you feel. But I'll beg to differ also. Because when you cannot tell the difference, whether something is AI generated or human generated, how you feel or not is actually a function of yourself. So there's this Turing test, right? Turing test is when one cannot distinguish whether the output is coming from an AI or not. Then it's real intelligence already. I think we're not that far away from it. So basic creativity has been replaced, which is why a lot of the white collar work, which in the past have been value-added work like management consulting, junior lawyers, junior drafters. A lot of the work, right, 80% of the work has been replaced. So the world is moving away from, at the moment, at least in the next few years, from a pyramid-shaped organization to a diamond-shaped organization. What is meant by diamond-shaped organization, right, amongst the young people, right? Graduate employment of new graduates over the last 2-3 years have been collapsing. This is the truth. The data is shown, right? In the US, in Indonesia. That's why you have all these young people protesting. In Malaysia, same, right? Organizations, are reducing the hiring of fresh graduates right now. Young people right now, because they think, okay, I need to make sure I stabilize my organization first. I can find more efficiency in my organization first before I grow my headcount. Same with the banks, right? Petronas is releasing 5,000 people. Right, so you're going to see, all the other major banks, the other major telcos, the other main GLCs also, right? They'll find ways to become more efficient, right? Same with all the other MNCs. MSO just fired 10% of the white collar workforce. There's 30,000 people, right? But they're still more productive than before, right? So to prepare ourselves, right? Whether it's people like us who are still working, luckily we've been working for 20, 30 years now. Right? So we have the experience, we have the relationships to draw upon, we have the context to draw upon, right? And as well as the young people, right, is how do we actually go to the next level of creativity? So using the tools that are available to us right now, where there are tools, right, and the tools can solve the basic creativity issue. And our job over here is actually to become even more creative, to focus on the higher level of creativity. Right? You don't have to do the basics right now. You can use the tools to actually create a virtual avatar and human. But maybe with that, you can create your own Hollywood-like Pixar film. Where in the past you were required hundreds of millions of dollars to create, but you yourself as a new student, as a person from, Dr. Maizatu's faculty, right, of multimedia design, can create a full feature film using tools which makes it more accessible. So the idea is, not the basic creativity, that is getting disrupted, it's going to die, right? Because the value in terms of what society is willing to pay for, right? And compared to the output that can be generated by machines, right, has shifted the balance in a certain way. It's disrupting the business models. But the next level of creativity, now this is up for us to define, right, and to find. So first step is actually for us to master all the tools which are available first. And then when you master the tools, you have the context on how to use it. Then across this disciplinary, cross tools and your creativity, then you can build something new, right? And the key thing is get enough practice, young and old, right? So you keep building, most of it will fail, but some of it will succeed. So it's about practicing to master it with the 10,000 hours of practice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Warren. So basic creativity has been replaced, right? But we have to keep on just inventing. I mean, when you're talking about being retrenched or replaced, the irony is Meta, right? The AI people had been retrenched because after they have built was the AI.
So they fired thousands, but then again, the ones who are at the top of the top are still making hundreds of millions of dollars. So I guess what I'm trying to say to everybody over here, you're a fresh grad or whatever, right? To avoid getting disrupted, you have to be amongst the top 10-15%. Because you are the one that, just like, it's a pyramid, right? The top of the pyramid will always survive. Because you'll be adaptable, you add value, you connect things together, you see patterns that others cannot see. So the thing to teach our people here is critical thinking, problem solving, connecting, thinking big picture, translating and executing to bring something into fruition. Right? So those are the universal skills that will always be applicable, right? Or leadership skills, empathy skills, learning skills, right? Which will still make you future-proof.
All right. So that's why Mr. Warren are 4 flat, yeah? Okay. So make sure you have that top 20 and so on. Anyway, that brings us to the final discussion round. I know, all the audience might have questions because it's me who have been asking all the questions. So a heartfelt thank you for all the panelists for such a rich perspective. So I would like to open the floor for questions from the audience. Kindly introduce yourself briefly before asking questions, and please keep your question concise and indicate which panelists you are addressing. By the way, I know, maybe some of you want to use ChatGPT to ask questions or to build out some questions. I did, I used that. But ChatGPT doesn't know much, so you have to keep on training it and so on. So I hope those audience who have questions, we have the microphone over there. We have around, up to maybe 10 minutes for questions. Tak ada soalan. Di Malaysia lambat. We take time, we take time and ASEAN. But you let the first and then the floodgates open.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Setiawan from University Selangor. I'm asking about the concept of whatever your experience and your field, based on that Rasulullah Muhammad was sent to perfect all the characters. We know that the Prophet Muhammad was sent to perfect our good characters, and then with the AI, with any new norm, or with any whatever artificial. So what should we deliver for the young generation based on our input from our sense and based on the, I mean, so that whatever that from the inputs, when we, what is input is garbage, probably most likely output was garbage, and from incent from the empathy, incent from the creativity, and incent of the what is really why not just only good is in the world. So there is promote the truth, promote the good, and nothing is except good. Is that okay? Yes, especially for that. Thank you. Unicef.
Okay, thank you very much. First, in my opinion, Mr. Salam did not stop us by using any technology, but we have to use with hikmah, with wisdom. And then, if this world full of goods, then God did not create shaitan, Iblis, all angels. But shaitan and Iblis is to test us. Which one is good, pious human being. So this is and of course this world full of tests. AI part of tests. Even we remember 20, 30, 50 years ago, people say television is haram. They don't want the television in our house. Now, in not just a house, in our hand, we have full of television, full channel. So we have to face the reality. But the thing is, we have to use this God consciousness or taqwa to protect us. And we know that in this world, it's not free for all. They have to have some kind of control mechanism. Then, like I'm talking to you right now, the angels we believe the angels are joking what we are doing. So this is what happened in social media. Sometimes people don't care what they're saying. They should focus on hujurat. Do not humiliate people. Do not backbiting people. Do tabayun. But unfortunately, they are tibayun dulu. Baru tabayun. You understand what I mean? Tibayun. Huh? Tibayun. You make a fake allegation. Then you find out these are not true. So the problem is us. It's not technology. The problem is the hardware. The problem with our qalbun. The problem with our nafs. Is why AI and nafs, they whether we have to control our nafs and we use our mind and akal, qalbun, and to protect ourselves. Thank you.
Right. Next question, please.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Salim Darfan. I'm a lecturer in University Benedict Sultan. I would like first of all to thank the links of being engaged, and I would like to ask you in the next coming years, especially with AI and everything, so what will be look like the employment center universities, and what transformations that we need to do to don't be behind. Thank you so much.
Oh, Dr. Salim?
For Dr. Zama, because they have like contributions.
Transformation.
Okay, thank you for the question. So, in my opinion, when we are trying to what can I say, is to not let us left behind, and like that, right? So, how university can do so? We always can like ask. We encourage the university. Okay, some of our seniors still can like refusing ChatGPT because they thought that it will not teach the students to do it. But in my opinion, just like what Prof. Fauzan said, that the problem is not the technology, but the human himself. Sorry. So what we can do is we encourage university to adopt, to co-creations with the AI, building the curriculum, and then combining what is the local. So in my opinions, I always focus on my local problems. So combining the local values and then combining with the technology, the future technology, to build the courses for the students. So for me, AI bring powers, but the humans bring purpose. So if we just like in the university level, if we the meaning of the smart learner, I mean the smart learning is still there if we stay focused a human as the center. So is it answering your question or not? So the first thing is we always focus on the humans, and then AI is just bring the power, but the purpose still is in our hand. So we can do it, and then we can use it, and then maybe in the next few years, we can be a better society. We can be a better, better anything because of we have a new tools to utilize it.
All right, thank you very much. Any more questions from the audience?
So with the coming AI,
Prof, you're from UMN?
yes,
Viral, Prof?
so do you think this, I'm thinking of something that, do you think that, I would like to get your opinion, do you think this will be a good idea? We use AI to do something we cannot do. Don't use AI to do something we can do. Do you think this is a good idea? Otherwise, many things that we can do, we also ask AI to do, we are really harming ourselves. For example, just a simple explanation why it's going to harm us. Because the AI is made of the technology, the machine. Any machine will be less efficient than our human body. So if we multiply this, everyone doing AI just to do simple things that we can do, we are actually hitting our planet. The server, the memory in the server, all this, they consume a lot of energy and they emit a lot of heat. They are the major cause of global warming. So please maybe consider is it a good idea to make a regulation that use AI to do what we cannot do. Don't use AI to do what we can do. Thank you.
I think we should use AI to do things that we can do. Right? Because there are a lot of things that we don't like to do. And AI can do a lot better and more efficiently. So it should be automated. Like a lot of the basic in most organizations, right, sometimes, a lot of the things that we do is actually work for work's sake. Because somebody has to check the work of somebody, has to be checked by somebody else, has to be checked by somebody else. The governance, the audit, and so on and so forth, right? Or the preparation of the data, and so on. So a lot of this mundane, repetitive work, it should be done by AI. Because it's more efficient, and then it frees up your time to be doing other things which could be more meaningful and it could be more enriching. As for things like global warming, I think it's also a question of technology. Technology will solve by itself over time. If you fast forward, because this AI trend, it's not a few years, right? It has impact for decades, if not hundreds, and for the rest of human civilization, really. This is as important as discovering electricity and telecommunications. So there's no way to avoid it. Right? It will be embedded in terms of how we survive or how we thrive as a community, as a human spirit. But the question, Professor, is how do we use it responsibly, and how do we minimize the drawing of resources to generate the same kind of output of productivity or happiness or prosperity or spirituality or intellectual stimulation that's required? So whether it's a global warming because of fossil fuels right now, I was an oilman, I used to work in oil and gas, right? or geothermal or hydro or solar or whatever, right? I'm sure, with human ingenuity, we will find a solution. Because the value to be derived from the constructive usage of AI is so high in terms of ROI, right, to society, to all of us as individuals as well, at the country level, that is inevitable. Right? I don't see an alternative to that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warren. I'd like to reflect because you mentioned about having AI, and then with tools we become more productive. But I remember there was a saying, I forgot which US president, it was quite a long time ago. That time technology was just advancing, and he said, "Oh, technological advances will let us work less, like work less day and have more time." But we can see now the reality is not that. We are working more than ever. So I'm not sure whether AI tools, by cutting out all those mundane tasks, will help us towards having more balanced work-life things. But anyway, thank you so much. Prof was in physics, right, Prof? Okay, so maybe AI doing physics, I'm not sure whether it's at that level already. But it's a good discussion, having input from both sides. Would Prof. Annabelle want to add?
But actually, it's the scaling of AI going forward is also going to be a physics or chemistry related topic. Because we're talking about all these GPUs and semiconductors, it's reaching a physical limit of how many transistors you can feed into a layer of wafer, right? And so on and so forth. So again, let's be optimistic about the human ingenuity to use hard science to solve all these constraints that we are facing.
Yeah, actually, this is a very profound question. I find that it's not so simplistic whether it's using AI for this or that, but I think it is a complex question actually, or complex problem, because you can see that on one hand, you're talking about jobs, you're talking about tasks at a very small end. On the other hand, there's another stream of energy issues, right? That is more than AI actually, that's coming from various different streams. But it really calls then for interdisciplinary type of platform conversations to come up with solutions. So the solution will not be very straightforward and simple. So on one hand, yes, it is in terms of productivity, certain aspects, in fact, certain things that we design AI, we are responsible for AI, right? Of course, we are designing to do things that we already could do, but more efficiently, so that we release us technology of speed. Certain mundane things, these systems can do much better than we can do. So in the sense that it is something we cannot do, right? Or even integrating multiple different modalities of data and making sense of it and recognize all the patterns that we are talking about, pattern recognition. Humans may not be able to do that in an instant at one go, although very trained humans may be able to, but not everyone. That's where we harness AI that we cannot do on a regular basis. So it is a balance, I think, in between that, but also it needs continued conversations and discussions like what we are having today from very different perspectives. Because if I'm just in cognitive neuroscience, I'll just think about the brain all the time, right? I wouldn't come up with a solution of how to put all these together and identify better ways of doing what I'm trying to solve. Similarly, on the other hand, if you're just looking at technology itself, right? It's difficult to just solve existential or humanistic problem. Actually, right now, what we are discussing is actually something very human-centered, like what Prof. Dato was talking about. Sounds very humanistic, but actually, this is what we're dealing with: human living, right? So we're using technology to live and to function and to advance society. Yeah.
Thank you again to all our panelists, and also the audience, for thoughtful engagement. So I think with that, because it's already time, right? We conclude our forum on AI, education in the AI era, innovation, ethics, and human-centered futures. On behalf of the organizers, I'd like to express our deepest gratitude to our distinguished panelists, for all those of you and all of you for your active participation. So as we leave today, may we carry forward the insight that to innovate boldly and always keep the humanity at the center of our education. And may today's forum spark collaborations, and also reflection as we lead ASEAN higher education forward. Thank you once again, and please join me by giving our panelists, a very loud, a big round of applause. Repertoire, you got all ready? Okay, if not, you can come and see, all the panelists later on. So again, thank you everyone, and have a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Bibi, and our esteemed panelists, Prof. Annabelle, Yang Berbagi Dato' Fauzan, Dr. Utama, and Mr. Lawrence. Before we officially close this session, I would like to warmly invite our moderator and all the panelists to come forward for a group photo session, and may I also invite Professor Nazri as well to join us on the stage for the group photo. Thank you. Do you have a photographer, someone to take the photo? Yes. Okay, thank you, Prof. Nazri, Prof. Bibi, and all the distinguished panelists. You may now kindly take your seats at the downstage. And maybe we should have a photo with the audience as well.